Welcome to the DJNTV Chill Room Chat, your space to unwind and talk shop. This episode is sponsored by MadeByDJs.com, innovative tools designed specifically by DJs for DJs. DJEventPlanner.com, the industry standard for streamlining your business and booking faster. And DJRequests.com, the easiest way to manage your dance floor's vibe in real time. Support the show by using our Amazon affiliate link at DJNTV.com/Amazon. Now, let's get into the mix.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome. Welcome. It is Monday night, and we've recovered from like 4th of July stuff and recovered from being out of town for different conventions. And so I get to hang out. And then Cubby said, well, if Dan's coming, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah, he's got this weird policy. It's a contractual thing, you know, and really he's the only one who knows about it and has it in his contract and doesn't even share it with us. So he just tells us that it's a contractual thing. That and something about green M&Ms. I don't understand that one either, but whatever.
I've heard about those green M&Ms people.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that's ever been a kid, you know what I'm talking about.
And that's why it makes me wonder. Just makes me wonder a bit. So Dan, let's dig into tonight's topic about what to leave with a fellow wedding vendor. Because in my particular case, I've got a bridal shop that has this beautiful vendor area. And over the years, you know, I've had brochures there and different things. But you brought this up a couple of weeks back, and I thought it would be a great topic to kind of dig into. What does, in 2026-27, what does a person have for information at a venue like that?
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. This particular venue that I'm on their list, and it's been great. They decided to rework a space that's attached to the restaurant that they have, so that as potentials come in, or even just people are like kind of like wandering through the restaurant, they'll see this spot and be like, oh, that's right, they do weddings also, because like the wedding area is kind of slightly removed. And they said, you know, we want to put some vendor people that we like working with in there as well, and showcase their stuff. And I went, that's great. And then I went, I don't have anything.
Sure.
They said, that's okay, you can get us something. So I was like, okay, that gave me some time. But yeah, it's been one of those things that I've always kind of struggled with, is even going back to like even just bridal shows or wedding shows, right? Like what do you always hand out? What do you give out? What do you do with it? And I felt like there's got to be a brain trust here. That you know, not just the potential three of us, you know, if Cubby was coming, but you know, additionally, those are our viewers here. When we're talking about this, by all means, please, if you have an idea, whether it's some way to take something we're saying tonight and move it forward even better, or something you've had success with, don't hesitate to throw that into the chat somewhere. John can see most of them. I can only see one of them, and help us out, because you guys and gals know a lot more than me, at least.
Yeah, there's some always some creative things that pop up when you start talking about this, and that's one of the things I do miss about not being able to, or not having gone to a convention for a while, is because this is the kind of thing that you can ask 25 different people from around the country at a convention, and you'll get some ideas that you're like, okay, that's a bad idea. I'm never going to, I won't implement that. But there's somebody will be like, oh, I do this, and you'll be like, hey, that's good, but I can make it a little bit better by doing this. And there's your value, huge value for the face-to-face events that are out there. So one of the questions I had for you, Dan, right away is, did you get a chance to see the area in which they were referring to where they would like to put that information?
Yes. By luck, I did. I've seen some of the pictures ahead of time, and then I had a wedding, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. I was at the venue, and so I got to see, which helped, because originally I thought it was an offshoot of their wedding area, where they were like, okay, like if you're wanting to come check out our place, you can also like go over to the side room for a few minutes while you're waiting for us. And then found out it was actually off of the restaurant, which made me kind of a little bit more relieved, just because it was more there was a more chance of the average person just finding my information
Sure.
than somebody who is maybe 100% vested on that venue and that venue only.
Interesting. So now, well, we'll dig into that. Are others who are on that board, are they using, is it a business card display that they're doing? Is it a brochure display? Is it a variety of different things?
Right now, the only stuff in there is the venues. It
Okay.
is a brand new spot. And I think, so they basically told me about it. This would have been maybe the Monday of the week that I had the wedding there. So I don't think anybody's had a chance to anybody else potentially has a chance to drop stuff off yet. So that where I
Sure.
could be like, oh, let me steal their idea, or let me go, oh, somebody else is doing that. I definitely need to avoid that.
And the reason I was asking specifically about that is that after the discussion, I started nosing around a little bit, because there are some places that over the years we've had, and like one of them is strictly a business card spot, and there's little pouches or what have you that have all the different business cards in there from all the different vendors that they refer. So that one becomes a business card one. It is fine, but I think this is as I was looking at that a little bit more, QR codes, of course, have become such a huge part of our world. I almost felt that I think I would do if I were going to be there is put a different business card that basically said, hey, scan this for whatever, for an actionable thing. Because for them to be taking a business card, I know myself, I take a business card and I may forget I have it until it's, all wrinkled up from being in my pocket in my billfold type of thing. But if the QR code with the scan with an actionable thing, they may take the card, scan it, and see what's going on their phone. Oh, hey, good. And they might put the card right back. But the chances of that. So the card thing was that was interesting.
I would say that was actually something I took away from, so I was at DJ Assembles last week, and that's something that I also took away. So it was one of the vendors that was there, and they had a business card, and it wasn't even like he was handing the business card for me to keep. He's like, here, scan to get my, scan it for my information.
Right.
And I didn't even have to scan it. There was also the one where I could have tapped it to have it go into my phone. Now that was kind of getting funky. But then when I scanned it, it saved his information right in there. And I was like, mental note, like, okay, people are actually doing this. Like, I obviously have seen, the dot cards or whatever. And it's like, okay, I know they're out there, but how many people are realistically doing something for it to be able to be kind of commonplace? When I saw that, I'm like, okay, people, obviously somebody is doing this. And I was like, that was pretty easy. So I definitely am like, even if I don't do the dot card where they can like touch it and make it go into their phone, I definitely want to have the QR code that says, scan to save my information
or something. Yeah. Yep. That's for sure. The, even the QR codes for an actionable item, we see this, Lori runs the local newspaper here, and we see people who are putting that in their ads into the print publication of the newspaper, that they will, hey, scan this, do this. And they're getting traffic out of it because they've continued to do it, and they change it up and do different things with it. So yes, that is it is the thing. So
I want to share a little tidbit for those of you who are like QR codes and you're using the websites and you're like, oh, but my QR code is only good for 30 days or whatever. I found something out just a few months ago. You can create a QR code in Microsoft Word that will have that doesn't expire then. So the only difference is a lot of the sites where you're doing it and creating the QR codes and that, it gives you ability to track how many people are scanning it. So obviously you're not going to have that with Microsoft Word and what you create within there. But if you have Office, like you're creating a free QR code that's not going to expire. That was a problem that I had. I had used one of the free ones and missed the fine print.
And yep, it expired. And you're like, why is it not
then
going?
Then I got a notification 45 days, and it was only good for 30 or something like that. Someone scanned your QR code. Pay to make it valid so they can actually use it. And I was like, oh, dang it. So.
Oh, that would kind of suck there. Yeah, that's for sure.
But it is a couple steps to do it within Word. So you can YouTube it. There's a couple different, people that do hacks of like, things that are there. It's not something weird. You just have to change a couple settings within your Office suite so that it's an option in there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I use Adobe, the Adobe online tools.
Okay.
Create one also. So if I wanted to do some tracking, I would just make a pretty link on the website that would be a trackable link and go that route. There's workarounds that there are.
Okay.
Another display was a brochure display where they had the trifold, and that's what everybody had. That's what I was asking, if there was what others were having, because the business card one is generally like this little containery thing that is out there, and it's something they bought and put it up. And what the trifold thing became a more of a, I don't want to say a homemade board that they had, but it had the little pockets in there, and it had for just trifolds. So if a person would have gone in there with some of the ideas of creating a booklet, like a half page or half of sheet of paper booklet folded over type of thing, you wouldn't be able to put it in there.
I will say this for this. I'm gonna like do a quick peek here to remind myself what the room looked like. I will say this. It is not. This is not a mass collection that they are allowing for this room. They are pretty select in who they promote, and that's the way they're viewing this
Very
as
nice.
a promotion. I'm not paying to be in that extra room to show that off, but it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, that's it. It's a legitimate. I've got a spot, and I can pretty much put whatever I want to. I'm not restricted to. And they didn't say, hey, can you give us a brochure? Can you give us a business card?
Right.
Like it was pretty much as open as I wanted to make to promote my stuff.
So then it comes back to, in this particular case, like you were mentioning earlier, if it was closer to the wedding specific area where the brides on a tour would see it, that would be one type of marketing as far as you'd be doing more of a focused there. But now as you're describing it, kind of more up there where the public can see it, now my head is going through, instead of being a specific wedding, it's more of a now maybe a fun party. What kind of fun parties we can create. And that would still talk or have the push toward a wedding, but you'd be wanting to create something that someone's going to be having an anniversary party, or that's going to be having a 10-year whatever, the different types. Because you'll have a lot of people who may pick the things up that are, oh, we've got a company party coming up, and they're like, oh, this looks kind of fun. So it on one hand makes it a little more difficult, because now you're aiming it for half a dozen different potential events in that situation.
My plan is to stick to the wedding aspect.
Sure.
That just because I don't want to mess with some of those other pieces, but also because that's the way the room is set up. It's definitely targeting the wedding clientele for the place. Not, I mean, they do holiday parties, they do corporate events, right? They do the other things, but this is definitely catering towards that wedding side. So I also don't want it to fully stand out like, oh, this is somebody who does everything. Like, I want it to kind of fit that type of theme with whatever I end up fully developing for that. But again, yeah, you're right. Like more of the party aspect to it with what it is.
So what do you think of the idea of, because we've seen DJs who have made websites that said, 10 tips for hiring a great DJ. But the idea behind when they're creating educational content or things that would be beneficial of, questions to ask your DJ, which I wouldn't recommend that one, but I just one that came to my head. Do you think this is a place where a person would have something that would be potentially helpful in their process of planning or putting together, or is that just kind of a passé thing that we wouldn't do in a situation anymore?
I think it depends on what you're trying to do with it, right? Are you trying to set yourself up as an expert in the field, right? Are you trying to catch the eye? Kind of also the same idea, I would probably use that more at like a wedding show type of piece, because, let's say you got 8 DJs there at the wedding show and you're the only one who has something that would allow them to keep it around to give them ideas for their own wedding. The other ones are only promoting their business. And if it's like, I don't care about you immediately, or I don't even remember who these people were, but over here, I've got this piece that, I got to make sure I remember this, because those are some good ideas for the wedding. And oh, by the way, there's the DJ information at the bottom. So I think in the wedding aspect, or where you're in a more saturated area, I think the tips are a good option. Within the setting of this, I don't think today's clients care as much about that, right? I think it's important, right? I think there's a place for it, but when it comes down to it, when you think about the couples you're talking with now, tell me about what you envision for your wedding party. I want to get through the formalities as fast as possible so I can have a 6-hour dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what they're focused on. That's what they're wanting out of their event more so than anything else. So while I think there's benefit in certain locations, this particular one, I don't think that would be the same.
Mm-hmm.
When, again, when I'm trying to compare myself to other DJs, maybe a different story. But also, like, where does your brand stand, right? Like, are you the type of DJ who creates I'll say a flawless event, not a big party, but a flawless event? Like, you're polished in everything you do, you play great music, people dance, but it's more about how formal you are from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think setting yourself up at that expert really kind of becomes playing to your wheelhouse.
Sure.
You're not, if you're, maybe a mix of the two, then again, I think this place definitely lean more in the party. And if you're not at all formal and you're in a situation for this, then you definitely want to lean on the party part.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where today's couples are. That's where they're wanting. So you definitely want to appeal to that side.
Yeah, I think that you mentioned a couple of the things earlier on that brought back to mind when we did bridal shows 20 some years ago, and we were handing out at that time. We were one of the first ones to put together a music list, a sample music list, and it had all of these, the oldies and every decade. That became one of those things that people would pick up at the bridal show and they would start talking about it. They didn't use that list with us all the time. They were using it with whoever their DJs were. They would circle songs and they would send it out. And I had many of my DJ friends who were like, "Yeah, I saw your music list again last weekend." But that was at that time. Today, would that work? Not a chance, because most of those couples have probably got a list on Spotify that they've either found, liked, and hearted, and created their own version of that. So times have changed.
Yep. The only thing I think where that works is if you do something similar to what Matt Campbell does, where it's a list, but it's a unique list.
Mm-hmm.
The song suggestions are not your normal run of the mill, and you play into that, or the idea of like, here's some great songs that are covers of the songs that you like. You know what I mean? Like, so you have a real unique spin on it. I think that becomes a way that you can utilize that. But again, I wouldn't do it in this place, in this type of setting.
Yeah. Again, that would be very venue specific as far as, if the clientele would even be in the right field with that. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the idea of putting like a special offer? Let's stick with our QR code. Scan this QR code, and it's going to take you to a spot where you can sign up to get it'll take you to a spot so you can go to our DJ event planner, and you can register or get more information and qualify for a half-price photo booth upgrade, whatever. Just throwing something out there. Is our incentives like that as valuable to get people to move that needle a little bit, so they'll sign up for information, as maybe other things?
Kind of weird, because when you say other things, there's such a wide gamut.
Yeah, and I mean, when I'm thinking other things, I'm thinking more of the educational things, or maybe they want to see the party videos of showing more in depth, or maybe they just want to click on something and go and be able to have immediate access to a chat that has Dan Carpenter on the other side. That there's the incentive of $50 off your $100 cheeseburger isn't that big of a deal anymore.
Yeah, I think there's a place for it. I do think there's a place for it. But something that I've done, I mean, I had my business cards at a wedding shop in State College, so that's an hour for me. in this particular one, and it was one of those things where it's like, when you call, just mention you got the card at this place. Like, I said that on the special business cards that I made up and just sent straight to the venue. I didn't, or to the shop. I didn't even have them come to me. It was like right to the shop. And I'm, in all the years that I've had him sitting there, I've had one. So I don't think, and what I was offering was a free uploading add-on.
Sure.
And the funny thing was, the couple who mentioned it didn't even know what it was. They were just like, hey, but they were hiring me anyway, happened to go there for their dress. And they're like, oh, by the way, we saw your information that said about this free uploading thing. And I was like, sure, we can add it. It was in a location that really didn't benefit from uploading, but we did it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I would do it if the venue was the right place, and I would do it with maybe a free upgrade. Just to kind of, if nothing else, crack a little bit better, where did it come from? So in other words, especially with this particular venue, right? I'm on their preferred list. So couples who are warmly coming to me because I was on their list, versus ones who find me in this by picking up my information.
Sure.
Right. And I would pick I'd pick an add-on that is nice and works for the venue. Like this particular venue, it's a beautiful venue, but it works really, really well with uplighting. Like it looks even sharper with uplighting.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? If I can do a free uplighting package, if they contact me, I would probably include it. If nothing else, also from that standpoint of, now it makes me look even better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You have that.
Now it makes that event look even better. So you get the ability to track it kind of a little bit better from where, oh, we got your information from this extra room, versus, we got your information from Google or the preferred list or whatever might be the case. I don't know. I've also thought about, just because of this venue, and I like doing uploading there. It's relatively easy to set up too, which makes it nice. Of just throwing it in on every package for there, because it's simple, looks good, helps the room.
But yeah, I think I like the idea though of making it seem like giving it more value by like, oh my gosh, that's a $500, and just by mentioning that, I'll save that kind of money. Even though, as you say, for you, it probably would be better to have it there every time anyway. So it becomes a win-win. Another, you mentioned uplighting, and then some venues that it just didn't matter, it wasn't a good use for it. And I was thinking that numerous barns that I have played in the last couple of years, uplighting would have been just completely crap. But having like surround sound speakers, if we'd call them that, but the remote speakers where we're jumping wirelessly to maybe the side room, or even during the cocktail time where we have speakers on this side of the room and speakers on that side of the room that are waiting with the wireless jump, could easily, especially in a venue where I know they work so well, could be a great time to say, hey, mention this and get that, because it would be something I would prefer to do anyway, because it makes the experience and such so much better. So I think that would, personally, I like that idea much better than saying, hey, and contact us for $50 discount. I don't think that gets people as excited, instead of saying, this great upgrade that we're going to help you do that will make the night so much better.
And I think there are some couples that are kind of, I don't want to say jaded to the money off, but it's one of those things where I think some of them view it's like, did you really give me $50? Or did you do one of those things where you raised your price $50 and then gave me a $50 discount? Yeah. Right. Like the money off thing. I'm not a fan of it. And it's also, it's also the same thing of, if you're a $1,500 DJ, but you keep giving $100 discount, you're not really a $1,500 DJ. Yeah. You're a $1,400 DJ. Yeah. I don't know. Is that an Alan Burke thing? I think.
Somebody said that. Yeah.
Somebody like that. I've heard it enough times. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the money off. I like the upgrade option, especially if it's a place that makes me look better because it's there.
Want to kind of keep it to about a half an hour here tonight. A couple of one of them that I saw here that I thought was really kind of cool was the custom hotel door hanger. I don't know if you saw that on that list. Basically, no, it would be. I must have passed over it. you'd have at the venue, especially if it's a hotel venue, you'd have these custom little things that have your DJ logo and DJ thing interface. But basically, it says, we danced all night at, in my case, the Holiday Inn. That's where they had their wedding reception. That's where it would be, and it's this instead of the do not disturb, it would be designed similar to that. Just something fun and kind of unique, and they'd be like, "Oh, isn't this kind of fun?" But it's sending a variety of different messages. One, it's showing that you're a little bit different than everyone else who's got a business card or trifold, and you're probably going to have a lot. I mean, I'd look at that and say, "Oh, I danced all night with Dan Carpenter." Well, Dan must be a fun guy that we're going to be out there on a dance floor all night long, sending that little subliminal message that that's the person that's going to have a good time with. So I thought that was kind of a cool little one.
I'm liking that idea. I'm liking that idea for any of you. And you can even have them ready to go, for your couples. But like, listen, you have people coming from out of town. How many rooms do you think you're going to have? Or even just, some of those hotels that you're spot on, like you could deliver it there. I like the idea of if they want to, they could put it in their bags.
Mm-hmm.
With the, and if you have the ability to print your own, you could even go a step further and be like, I danced all night at so-and-so's wedding. Now it's personalized. Of course, they're going to want to put it in that bag that's going to be, handed to them when they check in.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely some opportunities there to have some fun with that. And then, of course, there's things like the can cooler and the bottle opener and coasters, all these different things that a person could have there sitting on that vendor table or that venue's table there that people could pick up and go. I've never been, ink pens, all these things that I just think it's money thrown away. If you can't do something creative and funny, way better than the guy who said, "Oh, we're going to put on that ink pen. I stole this ink pen from DJ John Young." It's like, "Oh, you're sharp. You're sharp. Nobody's ever heard that one before."
I will say this as we're getting towards the end. My plan, I think, if I can pull it off, I need to talk with some of my photographers because I want to get like a nice picture that I can have enlarged to put onto an easel and have something near that and have that easel up so it's also can't be missed. Like that's the other thing that you want, right? If you're doing this thing, you don't want it to be missed with everything else that might be in that room. Whether, if they only give you a tiny little space, that's fine. But if you've got some room to work with, you want to take advantage of that. You don't want it to go by the wayside because it was, we looked in and we immediately and we moved on.
Yeah.
Something that stands out.
Something that stands out, and really just kind of sets that apart. But there's a lot of great ideas out there. If you guys want to dig into that, one that I saw that a company uses is they were connected with a casino, and they made a poker chip that didn't look like the casinos, but it was a chip that was their advertising and such on it, and the other side it may have had a special offer, I don't know, but because it was mentioning the casino and that they performed there, the people picked it up because people that would frequent a casino or be in that world thought that was a cool thing because they like those types of things. Yeah. Excellent. So, as I looked around and such, and I was thinking about this, and I just don't know if there's anybody, because the one place I used to have our pamphlets, they don't have anything anymore. And everywhere else is doing maybe a folder, or they have a little spot on their website with some links. That's it. Yeah, it's just you don't see the vendor tables like we used to.
This is unusual. Like I've seen the business card spots when you have like a florist who has a little extra space, or you've got a wedding dress shop, same type of concept. They got a little extra space, so they put it. That in both of those cases, they're not as familiar with you.
Yeah.
And so this is a different opportunity, and I'm I don't want it to go by the wayside.
Yeah.
This is a venue that if I could be at 75% of the year, I would do it.
Yeah.
Because I like what it has. It has some of its unique hiccups in some aspects. but it's temperature controlled for one thing. It's a
Climate
beautiful
control is
venue.
huge at this time of year.
You know, it's doing ceremony and reception. And when I do ceremony and reception, I only have one setup. There's only one setup for both.
Nice.
So like there's those kind of things where I'm just like, oh, I need to get back to this place often.
Yeah, for sure. So, when you've got something you want to hang on to that's for sure.
Definitely.
Well, thank you guys for being with us. DJNTV.com/chill. The chill room is open, and there might be closer to 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern when people start to drift in there. But pop out there and check that out. Robin was with us tonight. There's an AI bot that was in there with us. Thank you, bot. And then Deb was with us, and KC Sound is with us. Digital business cards, I have not seen too terribly much of that. Generally, like this past weekend, my son was down at a convention in San Francisco, and it was more of the bumping of the cell phones type of thing. Is when they were sharing information. It's like they've just got bunk and that type of a thing. I don't think. Hey, and MJ's there. I don't. How much of the digital business cards are still a thing? I really question. Beyond, as Dan just said, is a card that has a QR code and it's got the near field thing, so you can do that. Dan's a little bit old, so putting his phone there, without having to, turn the crank first and then doing it, yeah. But those are kind of the ways of this world. And it's actually something that MJ's probably spent some time in his realm of figuring out how he can have his name available, because he likes to be on that kind of cutting edge stuff.
Yeah, my business card that I have has a QR code on it that goes to like a link tree type stuff. But I'm liking this idea of the scan to add the contact info.
Yeah.
Just even from making it simple, putting it on my laptop skin, right? Like just to make it as easy as possible for events and everything else. And then, this, I think I did not realize how commonplace it was until I was around other people who are doing it frequently.
Well, and that's where that Made by DJs, which is down below us here with the logos and such. That Michael's got a lot of folks who've been doing a lot of business with that, and it's that name on that placard and that QR code, and they can zap that. And I think they've got it now where if you need to change that your URL on that to a different one because you maybe rebranded, but you didn't want to redo, or maybe you did a different site, or now you want to send them to Linktree and you didn't do before. They've got that all set up that will handle that now, so it's pretty cool. But and again, I'm a phone. There's a QR code. Bink. I mean, even on my karaoke show, when I'm doing that, I've got the QR code in the corner of the screen that I'll take them to, and there will be people who come right up on the dance floor and they're pretty drunk, but they're gonna shoot that QR code to get the information. So crazy stuff. All right, Dan, take us home.
Well, thanks everybody for your ideas, for sharing them with John and I. If you come up with some more, by all means, put them into the comments on the videos. If you're watching this in the replay, definitely always open to some more ideas, and I'm sure somebody might even see that and be able to run with it as well. We thank you very much, and hope you have yourself a great rest of your night, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.